What's up YouTube, Capital G here, checking out a brand new Vampire XC monster coming out in Dark Sabers. This guy is pretty damn awesome. If you guys forgot what Dark Sabers is, this is the new set that's going to give us the Skyfang Brigade, the Pirate Furry archetype, and this set is very similar to like Wing Raiders or High Speed Riders, Fusion Enforcers. There's going to be 3 archetypes in there. I did not expect one of them to be an old archetype in Vampires. Well, I'm not sure how old we can really call vampires because they did get a bunch of support in the second half of the Zexal era. I know that in I believe it was Shadow Specters, we had a bunch of new vampire cards. They even got like a rank 5 if I'm not mistaken. Crimson Knight Vampire Beam. He was the dude who like you detached and then you got to summon a monster back from your opponent's graveyard and he could actually resurrect himself. It was okay. I know they got Vampire Vamping like Primal Origin, so they had a couple of sets of support. It didn't really end up being competitive, but it was a nice sentiment. These new, well, we don't have new cards, but this new boss monster does look very impressive. I think it's actually significantly better than Vampire Beam, and I don't know, maybe Konami's going to try to make them heavily competitive this time. So this guy is Dhampir, Vampire Sheridan. He's one of the guys that's on the cover of the Dark Sabers box, so you know he's going to be like a boss monster. He's a what's it called? He's a dark zombie type. He's rank 6, 2600 attack and 1000 defense. He requires 2 level 6 monsters to make, so he is actually generic, which means there might be some rank 6 decks out there like Hieratics that might want to put this guy in the deck. I think he's good enough to be splashed in other decks, to be honest. So it says if you exceed summon this card by using a monster that is owned by your opponent as XC material, that level is treated as 6, which means that if you happen to get one of your opponent's monsters, even if it's level 1, even if it's level 10 or something like that, it becomes a level 6 monster, which is really good because it makes going into this guy extremely easy. It says his first effect: once per turn, you can detach 1 XC material from this card, then target 1 card your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. So that is basically an Altergeist Miluseek, except he doesn't require an attack, and that's a really good effect. I don't know if you guys have ever played Altergeist before, but being able to get one of your opponent's cards off the board without destroying it is super nice, especially against Pendulum Magicians, where they want all of those stupid magicians to blow themselves up, and they want them to be destroyed because they'll activate their effects, and they'll activate their Pendulum card, and they'll summon Astrograph and all that noise. This card does not destroy. It can target back row, it can target monsters. That's a really good effect, by the way, and it's not a hard once per turn, so if you summon multiple copies in a turn, you can constantly take other cards. But what really impressed me was how the second effect it really combos with the first effect. I was like, wait, what? This card is really cool. Second effect: once per turn, if a monster or monsters on the field is sent to your opponent's graveyard by a card effect or is destroyed by battle and sent to your opponent's graveyard, you can detach 1 XC material from this card, special summon one of those monsters or that monster to your field in defense position. This is such an amazing effect. I know a lot of people are going to maybe overlook this, but you have to think about how practical this card is, or how practical this effect is, and how easy it is to actually apply. For starters, to apply the second effect, all you have to do is target one of their monsters with the first effect. You send their monster to the graveyard, then you just detach your second material. You immediately take their monster and summon it on your field in defense position. Also, the fact is you can actually just run their monster over in battle and still actually be able to use that effect. That's really nice, and I like it because it leaves you the opportunity to attack their monsters and their back row at the same time. But another thing that I noticed about the second effect is if you take one of your opponent's monsters, right, and they kill that monster, you can still take that monster back. And how dope is that, right? If you take one of your opponent's monsters and they run it over, it goes to their graveyard, which means it becomes eligible to actually be summoned back from this second effect, which this card is really good. Like, I honestly think that this card is going to see play in any decks that can summon level 6 monsters because it has built-in removal, it doesn't destroy, you can steal your opponent's shit from their graveyard, and even if they kill their stuff after you've taken it, you can basically just take it again. So this card to me seems kind of like the overall full package, and I think it's a really good card. So let me know what you guys think of this new Vampire XC boss monster. I think that Dhampir is a very solid card. It seems like Konami still wants to keep vampires as an XC based deck, and it still wants to keep them as kind of like a high level level Exceed deck, and I'm thinking that they're going to have a lot of monsters that summon or can potentially take monsters from your opponent's side of the field or from your opponent's graveyard. I think that would only make sense with the way that this card is kind of built. So whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos.